Welcome to Decoding Multifamily, a video podcast that explores different aspects of multifamily operations and takes a deep dive into the important topics that affect the apartment industry. Watch as co-hosts Suzanne Hopson and Paul Marks engage with multifamily thought leaders, rising multifamily superstars, and apartment industry icons. Decoding is defined as the process of extracting meaningful and useful information. So watch closely as we begin Decoding Multifamily.
Welcome and thank you for tuning in to the next episode of Decoding Multifamily. I'm Paul Marks, your co-host. I have with me the fantastic Suzanne Hopson, who's my co-host, and we are going to talk with a great person who I had the opportunity to meet last year, spend some time at a conference with them. I know, Suzanne, you are very familiar with our guests today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce them?
I would be happy to, Paul. Thanks. And we are talking about decoding Tina Smothers today. And Tina Smothers is the founder and CEO of Integrated Asset Management Advisory Solutions. And also she's a licensed real estate broker in Iowa. She specializes in property management and a whole lot more, podcasting in addition to that. And also is part of the Inspiring Women of Iowa group and a host of other wildly successful things that she's done, including her family, which I hope we can dig into a little bit today too. So welcome, Tina.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you and Paul.
Oh, welcome. Thank you. And I want to say that I know I've followed you on LinkedIn. You got a lot going on. You're doing a lot in the industry. Not only just for your own properties, but for the industry as a whole. And we appreciate that. So thank you so much. Yeah. So Suzanne, let's talk a little bit about, explain to our guests a little bit about Tina's, how you know her. And then also let's let Tina talk a little bit about what she's doing now in Iowa.
Sounds great. And we've been joking a little bit, Tina and I, lately, just about the fact that we've never met each other until just recently. And even though we're all the time saying that our industry is so small, it just goes to show that there's other people that we get to meet and connect with out there that we haven't had the opportunity to do yet. And I've just been so blessed and happy that I've been able to meet Tina through a work engagement, and it's really grown from there. So just really pleased that we've made this connection, and I'm just learning all about Tina and all of the neat stuff that she's doing in our space and has been doing for quite some time, and just how impactful I think that has been on a wider group of people in our space. And so I'd like to just start out with maybe something that's not totally related to multifamily, but would give us a shine in on you, Tina. And that really is just, since I'm probably the only one that doesn't know all about you, but is there something that you would be willing to share that maybe nobody else knows, or maybe just your close peeps know, that you could share with our audience about you, a fun fact?
I most certainly can. So the thing that comes to mind for me that many people don't know, because if you've met me, you know I love to talk. I love to be involved in a lot of things. I love to be very busy. And when I was little, I was very, very shy. And I only just wanted to be with my mom. Like public speaking, absolutely not. I would hang on her leg. They did ask her not to bring me back to dance class because I was keeping others from learning. So I have evolved through the years into just coming out of that. And I do attribute a lot of that to property management.
And Tina, you certainly are not shy now. I can say that to you.
No.
I mean, the first time we met, I think we shared some food at a restaurant, and you made it known exactly what you wanted to have.
Yeah, I like share plates, Paul, and I'm not afraid to share with anybody. I really feel if you're sitting at my table, you're a friend.
That's right. Well, tell us a little bit, how did you get started in multifamily?
So I'm from small town Iowa. I'm born and raised in Iowa, still here, and moved to Des Moines to go to college at the American Institute of Business to get my associate's degree in sales and marketing. And I needed a part-time job to pay my rent the typical property management story. And I applied at a property and became a leasing agent there. And that would have been, 27 years ago now. But what I love in that is I love hearing how people, started out, and we all try to leave and we don't, right? But what I think is really extra special when I tell people how I got into multifamily is the person who hired me 27 years ago just really shaped my career and mentored who I was. We only worked together for a couple years, but we always stayed in contact, and we're still very best friends till this day. She just had her 70th birthday in January. Just had lunch with her yesterday, and I just think it's one of those in multifamily, you just never know who you're going to impact and how you're going to help shape them, even if it is something small that you're doing for them.
That is a great story, but as you mentioned, it's not rare. People start out walking through part-time leasing jobs, and then they end up being owners just like you. And what made you decide to be an owner?
In 2017 is when I first got the opportunity to invest in my first property, and I was pregnant with my third. And it really was intriguing to me to be able to invest, just to be able to write a different story. So I've always been on the property management side, whether I was leasing or regional and that sort of thing. But I think we can all agree one of the greatest things about property management is you're helping people find home. And there's just such this great, home is where you just feel comfortable and safe. And we all have great memories when we were little at home, or I attribute a lot to when I would visit my grandparents. That to me is home. And just to be able to help people, we're helping them make memories and write those stories. And how could I do that with some? So the first investment I had was a traditional market rate apartment. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about some other deals that I have bought into, but just being able to help everybody find a home so that they could have the stories that they want to tell. And by being an owner, I knew how they would be managed, and I could really inspect what I expected and have them tell the story that I want it to tell. So that was one of my main driving points. I had no money at the time, but I made it work. That's probably another podcast another day. So
yeah. So you're
ahead,
not
Suzanne.
afraid to take some risk. It sounds like, Tina, if you really feel strongly about it and passionately about it, you'll make the move. Can you talk a little bit about that, and maybe how that's shaped some of the decisions you've made, or maybe some of those people who are not as bold out there who could use that advice?
I'm all about action, and the more risk, you can take immediate action, which I know makes a lot of people feel a lot uncomfortable. I really am all about timing is everything in life. I think it's how we've all met, how we've all come together, how we're sitting here today. And again, just back to those stories that we can tell. So with some of the risks that I've taken has just come with, being bold and talking to people that I normally wouldn't have, and asking the question, hey, are you looking for somebody to invest? What would it take to invest? I think that so many of us just think you have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you will, to invest in a property. And that's not necessarily, the case. And so with some of the risks that we've taken, we've done some rezoning deals here in the Des Moines market, from hotels to then rezoning them to multifamily, and done a couple projects that way that have turned out to be amazing. And we're bringing workforce housing to the market, which I love. I love being able to take something that's already there and making it better for a need that we need to fulfill. And just like throughout the United States, everybody's short on workforce housing and affordable housing.
Yeah. Didn't you just close a deal on one of those conversions from a hotel to multifamily?
We did. We were able to close the end of December. Yay. We closed on, it was a really happening hotel back in the day, if you will, home to the Playboy Bunny nightclub here in Des Moines. I always find that fascinating.
That's one. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so it has changed over the years, and it became an extended stay hotel. So we the owners came to us to have us look at the deal. We closed the end of December on that one. 119 apartments is what we'll have when that's completed. And it's very near and dear to my heart because I named it the McCoy, and McCoy is my 9-year-old. It's the McCoy at 8035, which goes along with another property down the street from there. But the name was more from like a marketing aspect of the marketing plan that I wrote. But I love that McCoy is able to be incorporated into that.
So you told me this story and I just found it so compelling about your son. And would you share it? Would you mind sharing it about the book?
Yes. So that's actually Mav, my little
that's
6-year-old.
Mav. Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Just to go back on that. So I've got 9-year-old McCoy and then 6-year-old Mav, and we call them the Smothers brothers. So they're easy to get mixed up. So we just have a lot of marketing taglines throughout our family.
So good.
But I think, for anybody who's a parent out there, aunt, uncle, and you see little kids grow up, you always wish you would have wrote down all the great stuff that they said. And as I mentioned earlier, when this first deal for me to invest in came along, I was pregnant with Maverick, and had, unfortunately, the year before, we had a tragic death in our family. So I was kind of getting back, into the swing of things from that. And, lo and behold, when I found out I was pregnant with Mav, it was a surprise and an amazing surprise. But I just decided I was going to take some time off work and have Maverick. But that always happens. And 2 weeks later, I ended up buying this property. And, but with that, I would take Maverick with me to my meetings or wherever I would go. Like, it was just like he was a part of work, right? So in 2019, I started a management company, and it's amazing what I have learned that kids pick up on. And we know this. However, they've got their headphones on. I didn't realize how much he was absorbing on all of the phone calls I was having in my car, because every morning I'd drop off McCoy, and then, bam, it would just hit, and I'd be on the phone until he went to the babysitters. I used to have an hour commute one way, so I think he picked up a lot from that. So the marketing person in me started writing these down. And what's great is Maverick thinks he has a serious business, and that's what he calls it. And he'll hear me talking to friends, or he could be listening, right now, and he's not afraid to chime in. Like his mom will talk and talk, but he's not afraid to chime in and say, no, that's not right. If you have a serious business, you do this. No, if you have a serious business, you should be doing this. It's like he's giving me advice. And the thing I love about it is obviously what we do is so stressful, right? So just having that, at the time he was 5 years old, that 5-year-old perspective of, they're not always up here. Like, it's, let's take a couple deep breaths and really, how is that affecting us? Or is there other options? And Mav is just like spewing these out, like, how could you not know that, type of a thing. And so just to get his perspective on it. So I am publishing a book. It's a coffee table book for leaders, business owners, and it's called Serious Business: Insights from a 5-Year-Old. And it will have, it's all about all of these amazing things and very sound business advice that you can get from Maverick Smothers.
I love it. Yeah. And kudos to you for just really extracting that and recording it and making it real in time. I just think one day, we all have had the embarrassing moments where our parents go, yeah, I'm going to show that at your graduation party, but this is really something wonderful that you're doing to really document that and record that. And you're right. He's really picked up a lot of wisdom, it sounds like. So I'm anxious to read that. That'll be good.
Yeah, he has. And what's really interesting about it is when the boys were about 4 each. So when McCoy was 4, I closed on one property. And so in his mind, every day I go work at this property. It's called The Village. So that's how McCoy sees it, because that's what he remembers. And Maverick sees it as I go work at the Vibe, a property I closed down when he was around that age. And then he knows the managers at those properties, but to them, they're my boss. So it's just his, just their open perspective of when he hears me talk to them in meetings and stuff like that. So I love that part as well. And I think, just the world is ever changing and things are, being more flexible. And it just goes to show, like with Maverick, they're picking up on stuff, but you can still bring them along in some of the stuff that you do. Some of them I realize you can't, because there are boundaries there, but I was just really fortunate that he was able to tag along with me on some of that. And he's taught me a lot about serious business. I have a business. He has a serious business.
I love it. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm always interested when I speak with people in the industry from different markets. What is it like in their market, for instance, with the job market for multifamily? What are you seeing there? And also what do you look for and how do you hire?
I think, here it's probably the same story as a lot of places. It's hard. It's a tough market. Salaries have increased so much the past 3 to 5 years in what we're doing. Just to back into that a little bit, I in 2005 that's when I first learned of the National Apartment Association. So that there are resources out there to help us and to learn and to educate. And I love growing and I love learning more. And so that was a big passion for me. And so in 2005 and 6, I was a co-founder of our local apartment association, which is an affiliate of NAA, the Greater Iowa Apartment Association, just to bring awareness to education and to be able to bring some of the, CAM and CAPS and those to our market. And so we are trying to get, filter that in when we can. For us, so specifically in the Midwest, it's just the labor pool is not, there's not a lot of candidates when you do put that ad. We do a lot of word of mouth, so referrals. I try to be in the community a lot. And so that's a lot of how we hire. So when you ask what are some of the things that you look for, sometimes if it's a referral where I can kind of get some feedback from somebody else from it. Of course, culture and value alignment is going to be huge, because for me, I'm an owner in the management company, but also an owner in some of the properties that we manage. So I really want to make sure that we're all aligned with the story that we're telling and how we're doing that. I think self-confidence is a big thing in property management. When you have the confidence and the support from your superiors, you're going to excel in your position much more. And I really am passionate that we can teach people, a lot. I can teach how to post rents and I can teach you the system and all of that, but just bringing in some of those other characteristics and that, again, that alignment, I think is probably the most important thing for me.
Well, on that whole part about hiring and your process and sort of that vetting and making sure that they're in alignment for you, what are some of your non-negotiables? Like what are you just not going to tolerate in your work and in your organization?
One of mine is that's not my job. I feel like that was something that was really, out there 10-ish years ago, and it's kind of crept back in, and it's the quietly quitting and, some of those things that we've been hearing more and more about lately. Of course, I'm going to have to mention the pandemic. I think that changed some of that as well, because we're used to not being in the office. Do I think we can work remotely? Absolutely. I've seen so much success in that. When I closed on the property in 2017, I second quarter of 2018, I decided I needed to go back on site to lease it up because it wasn't performing how I needed it to. And I needed this to happen for my, to move forward. And I did a lot of everything remotely from an hour away. I had a new baby and I was able to lease over 25 units within a couple months. And again, probably another story for another time, but it's just that's not my job really sticks out. Like, we all should be in the trenches together. I am a firm believer in don't ask anybody to do anything that you wouldn't do. It doesn't mean that you can't ask people to do those things that, are, helping save you time because you're in a different position. We all have to kind of have that, but I'm willing to go lease if I need to, or, whatever, pick up trash, whatever the case may be, research stuff for you, help with the marketing, all of those things. And I just want to make sure that everybody on the team is willing to do that as well.
Yeah, I think that's so important that you brought that up, and that, that's sort of a non-negotiable for you. And one of the things that, I continuously am surprised with by you is the things that you do every day, like out in the trenches, as an owner and, as someone that is working in their business. You've got a humbleness about you that I think is really admirable. And also you dig in, and you know how important that is, to work alongside your people. And so I just think that's amazing advice for people out there who are also leaders. We talk about that sometimes too, when we're managing others. And so thank you for sharing that. So yeah, we talked about your last acquisition, which was pretty neat. Is there anything else like on the horizon that's coming down the pipe? Are you taking it easy? What do you got cooking next? We got a book. You got
Yeah, I'll probably honestly be working on the book launch. It will. You can start getting copies in September. So I'm working on. Again, property management is my absolute passion. And then next with that is marketing. I love marketing if I can dig in and do it, and coming up with the ideas and all of that. So I think in my spare time, I'm going to work on just the marketing for Mav's book, and how I'm going to really bring that to the public with the right story to tell that goes along with it.
You and I spoke before when you kind of told me about the book, and you have a standing invitation for you and Maverick to be on the Multifamily Matters radio show if he's up for an interview.
Of course, it's already on our books, Paul. You're in. I should say we're in. Yeah, Maverick is so just a little sneak peek to it. So I'm going to have a serious business and sell copies of books, which it took him a lot to get there, right? Then fine. But people have to pay more if they want my autograph. He's a true entrepreneur. And so he, in his mama's marketing spirit, is practicing his signature, and he's making it like it's a logo. So more to come on that. But my heart is full with that. He really has heard me talking through the years. So
that's fantastic. I want to circle back for just a second on the McCoy. Most people, when they think about starting out, and you started out before the McCoy, but when they think about that, they're on one track, the existing property, purchasing the property, value add, whatever it might be. But you took a building and repurposed it, or that's what you're doing.
mm-hmm.
That takes a little bit of a different thought process. Talk a little bit about that, because I think there's a lot of opportunities out there in other markets for a similar type of thing. Talk about that.
Agree. I think there is a lot of opportunity. I think we're going to see it more. I think we're going to see a lot with the hotel conversion. I also think with all the office space, we're seeing that more and more. I think there's going to be a few more hiccups with that, just because of zoning and, window egress, just some different things there with codes. So on that, just to dial back a little bit, before the McCoy and the Vibe, in 2019, this is again back to timing is everything. I decided to go back on site, and I was leasing at my property, and a flyer came out, and a campus went up for sale here in Des Moines, and it's the college I went to. So I believe timing is everything, and nostalgia is like the best thing in the world. So I'm like, there's no way this is going to go through. And then my next thought was, this is totally going to go through. And the partner I had on it, we went, so to your question, Paul, like we went back and forth. It takes a vision from the right person who's, in that mindset. And I, said it then, and I still say it now. Give me the money and I will make it happen. Or, let's raise the money, or what do we need to get at? And looking at some different things, because you can't do everything like you always have. So with that, like with the college and then the hotels, typically there's 1 meter on them, for your electric and gas. So that's typically a problem. If you go to put meters on all the units, that's thousands of dollars. So can you do a third-party bill back service? Can you use it in your marketing to include it with the rent? What way are you playing that angle? So I think there's some different things if you're creative with what you're doing, and kind of looking onto what is out of the norm from our typical rehabs that we've been doing in my career, the past 20 years. And so I also think if you can bring other people into it with you for ideas, not partners, but through your networking, I love when you can reach out to somebody, especially from another market, because you don't know what they're doing there. Des Moines, Iowa is doing things completely different how, New Jersey is, or Florida, or wherever. And so really utilizing the things that you do in multifamily, whether you're big on LinkedIn or you go to, apartmentalize, or multifamily leadership, some of those things, but really making connections when you're there, depending on where you're at or going with your career, of course, is going to make a difference too. But connecting with the right people where you feel comfortable calling them and saying, hey, what about this? And that's how I feel a lot of things in my career have come into place for me, because I started that many, many years ago, and tried to put my ego aside so that I could openly feel good about calling and saying, hey, Suze, what would you do about this? And knowing that you're not judging me and giving me an answer. So building those great relationships with other people in property management, I think, will go a long way. So my advice would be, if you have a deal that maybe isn't your traditional and your company's looking at it, you're looking at investing, whatever the case may be, reach out to some other people to get their opinions on it.
It's great advice. And I got to say, to me, when people think about getting into multifamily or whatever, they at least look at properties where every apartment has a bathroom and a kitchen. And when you're dealing with a hotel or a campus or something like that, you're talking about having to create all that in an existing shell. And that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but kudos for that creativity and for that foresight to be able to do that. That's wonderful.
Well, I've got this question I want to ask and put out there and let you talk about it for our remaining time together. And that's really what it's been like to be a woman owner and a woman in this business, and, how you're navigating that and how you've become so successful as a woman in multifamily, because I think it's important to share with others.
Thank you for that, because I do love talking about that. I think that, where I'm at now in my life, I'm 45, and the timing for me has been great, because if I had some of these opportunities when I was younger, I don't think that they would have happened how they did. Through people I've met in the industry, amazing people at conferences, I've been able to help my self-confidence grow throughout the years, and really have my voice for how I believe things should be done or managed, and just been open to constructive criticism to kind of help build that. And so it is hard. I was at a luncheon the other day, and there were 10 people at the lunch, and I was the only female. And, it's hard to think that it's in a lot of scenarios that we go into, right? And so I love though, the opportunity to be able to, again, talk to different people to get their ideas. But just really bring that, what's the word I'm looking for? Just really bring that advocacy to women in real estate, and what can we do to help make that bigger and broader? How can we advocate for each other? How do we become allies for each other? And I will just say, I know we've just got a few minutes left, but I would not be where I was if I didn't have a male partner, my business partner, who really believed in me, and he advocated for me back. And he, I really give him a lot for supporting me throughout my career, and we've been able to do, some different things because of that. And I just think whenever you can champion for anybody and help them along, that's what we should all be doing. And I just love getting that message out. And here in Iowa, we have the Inspiring Women of Iowa event, and it's coming up, and it's just really powerful to be able to put, we have 700, last year, 700 people attended that event.
Wow.
And it was just amazing. And so whatever your career is, I think in real estate, we know it's predominantly male. And when you have that voice and you have that seat, make sure that you're bringing others in with you and really helping recognize if there's some talent there or development that you can do to help somebody else as well.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's great advice, and being an advocate for all, opening that door is just really a great way to end this. I think, Paul, it was just a great message. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm sure we'll do this again. I love it.
We will. And I look forward to seeing you coming up at some of the conferences.
Oh, for sure. I'm in.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk with you soon.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, Tina.
Suzanne, that was great. Tina is really an inspiration to folks. I mean, every market in the country is different, and I mean, she's in an area that I've never visited before. But I'm sure that what she said about trying to find good people, it's got to be tough in those areas, and she's really kind of rising to the top and getting it done. And I know you know her and have spoken with her for a long time. So thanks for bringing her on.
Yeah, I agree with you too, Paul. She's just been able to really excel. We hear a lot about markets being depressed and not being able to find opportunities, both on the real estate side and on the people side, and she's proven them all wrong. So
yeah. Well, I do want to remind our listeners that Decoding Multifamily is part of the Multifamily Media Network. You can go to the website at multifamilymedianetwork.com. See not only Decoding Multifamily, but a host of other podcasts, which are some of the leaders in the industry, such as Mike Brewer, Mary Gwynn, Paul Rhodes, Bill Nye, Ronald Harrington, Lacey Daniels, all have podcasts that are all about multifamily, different facets of multifamily. So I encourage you to go and subscribe to that so you can get the weekly newsletter that announces the podcasts that are being put out that week, that are dropping that week. And it's been fun to be able to put all this together and to really start bringing guests on. And we've got some guests coming up. Who we got coming up next, Suzanne?
I believe, I'm not sure.
Swift Bunny? Is it Swift Bunny?
Oh, I think it is. Yep, they are. Yeah. They are the ones that are up next. Yeah, so Swift Bunny, that'll be exciting. We've got Jen Picotti and Kara Rice ready to share some good stuff. So that's going to be a good one.
And the great thing about having them on is they always bring the receipts. They bring facts and figures that really kind of are eye openers for people in multifamily. So looking forward to that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today. Thank you, Suzanne, for being here and for arranging for Tina to be on the show. We'll be back again soon. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Decoding Multifamily video podcast, and please tune in to future episodes. If you would like to subscribe to our weekly newsletter or discuss being a podcast guest on Decoding Multifamily, please go to multifamilymedianetwork.com. Thank you for watching Decoding Multifamily.